None of us ever think that we're going to become an amputee. And it happens, I always say, in that nanosecond. You pull out at a red light and a car hits you, or you step down off a ladder and your leg gets hung between the rungs. There's just such a variety of ways that, you know, something can happen.
He was 6 months old when they told me that they had to amputate him. And it was really hard and sad because a 6 month old going through that and it's going to be in pain. So yeah, it was hard.
Good, how you doing, Ed?
I've been needing a new leg. My parents had to pay for a new leg every year because I kept growing. And then my East facilitator, Mr. Worthy at my elementary school, he introduced me to 3D printing. He showed me all these designs that I can do, and I was like, oh. This right here, it shows that like it's gonna 3D print to that, and at the red spot, it shows that like that's where it's at right now.
When I first met Arkhan, he went to school here. He was first grade. I'd see him in PE every now and then or running around at recess, and I actually had no idea he had a prosthetic leg until he was in 3rd grade. You start to weigh a little bit more, and a plastic leg is not really the safest thing to do, especially one designed by a 10-year-old. Well, you guys know what happens when you're a kid. What's the one thing you're guaranteed to do as a kid? Grow. Yeah, you're gonna grow. We had him using Tinkercad a little bit, which allowed him to get in front of the computer and just kind of play around. Make a birdhouse, make your dream house, make a car. And it wasn't for a couple of months until he started thinking, all right, well, what about this leg?
When he first got to me, he had been working on this project for 3 years. He was in a place where he was kind of done with it, but he knew he needed it, and that's kind of where he was trying to balance the two. When you see him walking down the hall, he's got a noticeable limp. His leg is clearly too small now. So that just kind of pushed him to say, I need this, I can do this myself. And he just kept going and kept fighting, and he finally got one printed.
It's changed my life because I didn't even know what 3D printing was. Now I'm just constantly thinking of new ideas, what I can do, and you know, make new designs of prosthetic leg.
50 Legs was a crazy story. So I had the kids join a Facebook group for Glowforge users. One post on the group asked for us to submit our social media pages. People wanted to see what everyone else was doing. From there, people started going through our social media and they found Arkhan and his story. A lady named Kelly, she reached out and said, you need to contact these people.
I had heard the story about Arkhan printing a 3D leg for himself, and of course was very interested in hearing more about that. And from there, I asked Mr. Ratchford about what kind of leg he was currently wearing, and the fact that he only got a leg every three years for a child, that's totally unacceptable. 50 Legs is a great organization that really helps reduce the financial burdens to families by providing financial assistance, by helping with plane tickets and hotels and things of that nature, and then they also pay for the actual legs themselves for the children.
50 Legs reached out, we reached out to them, and Arkhan filled out an application, and he was accepted, and it just kind of ran with it, and it's been awesome.
Mr. Ratchford texted me about the 50 Legs thing and was like, Josh, he's getting a leg. And I immediately showed it to my wife, which my wife had him in 4th grade in her class, and we just kind of started crying a little bit because we've seen Arkhan struggle. He's grown, we're talking inches over summers, and after a while he struggles a little bit. Fatigue sets in, and for him to have this opportunity, it's a blessing.
When I very first met Arkhan, when he was 7, he was just like this real shy kid, loved sports. To overcome and play the sports that he's been playing, that has been something that I swell up in pride about. The insurance that he's on doesn't even recognize prosthetics, so that, you know, that all falls back on us. And to find out that 50 Legs was funding all this, it was a lot of joy, because money-wise it would have been really hard on us. To find out that he's getting this and that there's actually an organization out there that does this type thing, you know, is very, very touching, and it's taken a lot of stress off of me and his mom.
So back in 1999, I lost my leg in a motorcycle accident, and I just started wrestling at Killer Kowalski's in Malden, Mass. So anyway, Jimmy Hart, the mouth of the South, is one of my best friends. And we got a phone call because I won a gold medal doing the Paralympics, doing the shot put at the Wild World of Sports in Orlando. A couple of weeks later, we get a phone call from Extreme Home Makeover from California, and we did Extreme Home Makeover, and I got to meet this little girl. She lost her leg saving her little sister. She pushed her sister out of the way. She got run over, broke her neck, lost her leg, broke her back. Just a bunch of stuff happened to the poor girl. And at the time, Jimmy, I looked at her, I go, "Do you have a leg yet?" She said, "No." I said, "Well, I'm going to get you one." And that's how 50 Legs started. Jimmy Hart looked at me and goes, "Well, that's the reason why you lost your leg. Everything happens for a reason." And there's the story behind 50 Legs starting off.
POA, folks come here from all over the country, all over the world. Athletes, they serve many, many Paralympic athletes here. High componentry, the best legs. Their patients here are doing everything. And you know, you can see this wall all around here of their athletes, Paralympic track stars, Paralympic snowboarders, Paralympic swimmers.
We see patients from all over. We see 8 to 10 out-of-state or out-of-country patients a week. I feel it's more of a blessing for us to help these people out than they think it is for them. And really, Arkhan's his case is pretty easy compared to a lot of the stuff that we see here. Arkhan, just a very unique kid, outstanding personality. When he first came in here, a bit shy, but then right when he saw his potential, it was just amazing what he was able to do, and he just came out of that shell right away. Very good, all right. We'll have to get the kind that goes up the backside. He doesn't want you to feel sorry for him. He doesn't want you to not push him. He's just a typical 13-year-old kid that just happens to be missing his leg, but he can do anything that any other 13-year-old kid.
Look at this one, look. The liner doesn't have any fabric on it, so we have to spray it to allow it to roll on itself. Go ahead and keep your leg nice and straight. Most facilities, it's more like a doctor's office where you go into a room, you get closed in, you don't see anyone else but the prosthetist, and then you get that adjustment and they say, all right, we'll see you in a couple weeks for the next step, where we have this big open room where people can interact with each other when I'm doing adjustments back in the back. And then we're able to turn over our work really fast because we do all of our stuff in-house. Yeah, so we have a lot faster process.
All right, so these are our laminating stands. So this has plastic over it right now, and then we cover it with carbon fiber, and then you inject it with resin inside of a PVA bag. This is what it's like when it doesn't have any resin. It's just like a fabric woven, but that's carbon fiber. And then when you put this resin in, it hardens, and that's what makes it strong. Before we get to the carbon fiber stage, we make the sockets out of PETG plastic. And so it's just a lot quicker to make a socket out of this plastic, see how it fits, make changes to it before you get to the carbon fiber. And it'll make a socket that looks like this. Plastic socket. These are our alignment jigs relative to where your foot is to the ground. Say this is your foot, and then we attach the socket, and we know that if we make any changes and we need to make a new socket, we can always put it back in the same position. So that's what we use these jigs for. And then over here is where we do the liners. So you got your liner today, right? And so he took that scan and he put it into this carver. So right now, see how it's carving the foam into the shape of your leg? And so he makes a mold. You inject this with silicone, and then you get what you will put on today. And then we keep everyone's socket, everyone's mold over there because everyone's different.
I want to do this. Be like him.
Excuse me. I started wanting to do this when I was about yay high, so you can do it.
I came from Marshall Island after I graduated high school, and I was like 8 months pregnant with them. A few weeks after I moved to Springdale, I had him, and at the hospital I was asking my dad for names, and my dad came up with 2 names. The first one was Langenbelik, which is Arkhan middle name, and then the other one was Arkhan. And I kind of like Arkhan. I was like, oh, let's go with this name, Arkhan. And I asked him, what does Arkhan mean? And he said, that's the short name for Arkansas. Yeah, my dad came up with this name, and I think it's a pretty cool name. I feel proud that this guy make it happen for me to come and see Florida, and we're really blessed, and I couldn't be happier. I'm so happy. Excited and happy for him because he needed it.
I mean, it's an awesome, I like it. What you can do is, I mean, you'd see most of the dolphin, but it would be
Like that.
like that. Go ahead and put it in the middle. Okay. So it's a suction socket with a vertical shock foot. Basically, it's the same exact leg that I have, and he can do anything in it. It's built for him to do jogging. It's built for him to do whatever he wants.
Well, really, with his system, it's more of a suction valve that will actually cushion and not squeeze the limb too tight in any area or not be too loose. And with that mold, we're able to fit his limb and that liner into it and have the right amount of pressure that it doesn't upset the residual limb, doesn't irritate the residual limb, so he can do things like really put a lot of pressure into that when he's running and get that dynamic feedback out of that. And then the one-way valve just creates a suction portion of that once the sleeve touches the liner up top. And so that's the whole thing in a nutshell. Pretty easy. All right, same thing.
Oh yeah. Does it hurt? Does it hurt? No? So you can jump, you can run again.
It's a lot faster than I thought it was. Feels like a mini trampoline when you're running on it, like when you're sprinting. Cause my old leg, when I was running, I would have to ready, start, picking it up. But this one, it just naturally bounces back to me, bounces back in front of my foot. I just go with it. I feel like it's gonna make me a better at baseball or better at anything that I want to play. And just make me a better sportsman. Over here is basically like a big family. Makes me feel like I'm home. I don't have to worry about other people asking me questions and other people looking at me strange or treating me different. I feel like that everyone's Everyone's here. No, the other one. Look, the face up. Arkhan. Where's yours? The other way. Oh, that is so nice. I'm from the Marshall Islands, so I picked like the ocean, because I've never been to the beach, so I just want the ocean one.
So let me just put together and you're gonna be able to try.
Like that?
Just like that.
Oh yeah.
That's awesome.
Oh yeah.
That turned out really awesome.
All right.
I don't think people realize there's a lot of work into having a prosthetic leg. When you're 7, 8, even younger, you got years to grow, and to have to go to get a new leg,
Yes.
or being so active as Arkhan is, before any of this happened, before we even knew that he was continuing with his leg through school, we ended up ordering just one of the liners and a sleeve for him, just one of each. And that came out to just over $1,500 just for that. And so we're having to make payments on that. And even if I would have had the insurance deductible, I still would have paid a majority of it. They would have only paid like $70 out of it, and I would have had to pay, the rest. And I mean, we struggle, we live just like anybody else does, paycheck to paycheck. And I mean, we want to save, but Arkhan has special needs that needed to be met before we got this opportunity with 50 Legs and POA. Anytime we knew he needed a new leg or the prosthetic supplies, it really became a heavy burden for us, because we knew what we were going to have to dish out of our pocket.
I find it very unfair that, okay, well, we can get you walking, but if you want to run and keep up with all the other kids and everything else, either your parents are going to have to pay thousands of dollars to try to get this, which a lot of people don't have, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 to have a running leg. He just had to have the opportunity to get this, and it's a shame. I always say it's a shame that a teacher has to look at one of their students and then has to get a hold of a community, and the community here just stepped up to help him, and that's what we're supposed to do, to help one of each other. But he's not the only kid out there that has this. Not being able to either get a running prosthesis because of government restrictions or whatever it is, social and economic restrictions, who knows what it is. Him not being able to get that and to be able to live up to his potential, it's a shame that we do this to our kids when it's so easy to help them. So, I thank God for organizations like 50 Legs and other organizations that go out there and trying to say, hey, we're not just going to let these kids be forgotten. We're not going to let them just hold their head low and not be able to get out there and play with the other kids and run with the other kids, because as you saw, he's just as fast as any other kid, and he can get out there and play with all the other kids as long as he's given that opportunity. And it's just a minor thing that we gave him to get to that opportunity.
Oh, Rick.
What, son?
I just want to say thank you for helping.
Anytime, buddy. Anytime. And you guys got my number, so if you need anything, let me know. All right?
So it's been a month and a half since we've been from Florida, and my leg's been really doing fine right now. I didn't really know anybody that had a prosthetic leg at all. It made me feel better about myself.
When we got him connected with Florida and 50 Legs, and seeing him come back from that, he's a different person. He really is. He's more outgoing. He's wanting to show off his leg. He's wanting to be proud of what he's accomplished and where he's been, and that's something that we couldn't have taught him here just by 3D printing his leg. Being able to get him down with other amputees and seeing how life is like for them, it was life-changing for him.
If I never took an East, I would have never had this prosthetic leg that I have in the athletic world right now. And Mr. Radford, he's like a friend, you know? East is just basically a huge family. East is not telling you, hey, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do this. East is like, what do you want to do?
Well, the big thing with East is we have to give them time to play and explore and push buttons. They're gonna learn more in that day or two of play than me sitting there and lecturing in front of them. Just let them go at it. And that exploring phase is really, really valuable for the kids.
In East, we come into a classroom that's set up with $200,000 worth of equipment and softwares. So he has pretty much capabilities to do whatever he wants.
We're seeing kids statewide thanks to East and thanks to partners like NWA 3D. They're putting 3D printers and 3D scanners and software in the hands of just about any kid that would desire access to it. It's a hot trend right now, and I see that fostering kids to go into careers like engineering and other types of design. And they know they want to do it before they ever leave elementary school, let alone high school or college.
I love everybody at 50 Legs, Stan, at POA, Kelly, and Mr. Worthy for getting him started, you know, and then Mr. Ratchford for not letting him give up. I don't think they understand exactly how much they have touched us. The way the world is, you don't get that kindness anymore. For people to do this, you know, to help somebody else in need that really is truly deserving of it and really needs it, I mean, if words can't describe it, it's just a blessing.